We discussed earlier in the show the fact that Trump, after days of people asking questions about where he was, he didn't look great in the photos that we saw a few days ago, and then trending all over social media was hashtag Trump dead, like is dead, and he was not dead, I told you. Some people played into that a little much, guys. Hey, other influencers, a little much, okay? It was like, partially confirmed Trump is dead. Here he is. He's not dead, okay? But anyways, he had this big major press conference scheduled, and people were saying, what's going to happen? And some people were saying, he's going to resign. I already addressed that wasn't going to happen, and I was correct. That's not what happened. But you have Aaron Rupar saying about the clip you saw on screen, Trump lives and looks pretty much normal by his standards, which again, let's not forget, he doesn't look normal. This is not normal, but by his standards, kind of. You do have different shots of, and I'll show you, the presser got so wacky, but of his hand, it still looks wildly bruised. They started doing the makeup again, causing concern. Here's a video of his hand. It's some things going on, but there are explanations that aren't necessarily a crisis, but they're not explaining beyond its handshakes, even on his left hand. So it's leaving people wondering. But what's interesting is there were so many questions about his health, physical, mental, and he comes out for this press conference. People were coining it as his proof of life press conference. And he immediately showed that maybe his hand isn't a big deal. I don't know. But whatever's going on between the two ears should concern us. He gets asked, did you see these viral rumors about you not being alive because we didn't see you for a few days? And he immediately says no. But then listen to what he says a few seconds later.
Something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days.
First answer, no, he didn't see it. As clear as it could be, right?
1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now,
I heard that.
And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports.
You just said you didn't hear it. You just said that 30 seconds ago. Ridiculous. And at another point, he says, how could people be believing that I'm not top of my game? I was sending out very long truths. I was sending out long truth social posts. While you watch this, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. And then I am back. I'm back from Ukraine, and so I can get back to business as usual, plugging my energy drink, Pep. Active probiotics, no artificial junk. drinkpep.com. You can order it directly to your doorstep. My family business with my two brothers.
One of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. I was very active over the weekend. They also knew
when I open True Social and I see him saying, Taylor Swift is no longer hot, my first thought is poignant. Very poignant. Okay. You can take that down. So he's fine. He's sending out very long and poignant truths. Now, another thing he got asked about was this video from the White House. That is real, from all we understand. And it's a shot from a window of the White House. I'll describe for our podcast listeners. And then something gets chucked out of it. Did you see that? Something gets chucked out of it, which is very unusual. Things normally aren't flying out of White House windows. And Trump says AI. That's AI. Despite his administration giving an explanation for what it was, which was an AI.
There is a video that is circulating online now of the White House where a window is open to the residents upstairs and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window? Have you seen this?
No, that's probably AI generated. Actually, you can't.
Look at this guy. Watch, let me mute for a second. Watch the guy standing behind Trump when he says that. Watch. Even this guy's like, I don't know about that explanation. And boom. Wait. Really? AI?
The windows, you know why? They're all heavily armored and bulletproof.
So that's a fake video?
Well, it's got to be, because I know every window up there. The last place I'd be doing it is that, because there's cameras all over the place, right? Including yours. No, but every window, I've never seen a window that's... In fact, my wife was complaining about it the other day. She said,
She said, Donald, why can't I throw you out the window?
Have a little fresh air come in, but you can't. They're bulletproof. And number one, they're sealed. And number two, each window weighs about 600 pounds. You have to be pretty strong to open them up. No, that has to be... Where was the window? Let me see.
Oh, no. He's watching the video now, podcast listeners.
Maybe from the renovations.
Which is the window?
It looks like this is on the 15th Street side, I think.
Yeah.
So right here.
Yeah.
Those windows are sealed. Those windows are all sealed.
Yeah. Well, that's bizarre because his spokesperson said a response and it wasn't AI. The White House official tells the Daily Wire that this was a contractor doing regular maintenance while the president was gone. Regular maintenance. Now, of course, you have people saying it was the Epstein files, which is pretty good. The other thing I saw other people saying, I would not say this. Other people are saying that the look on J.D. Vance's face after these rumors and now being back in the room with Trump is, dang. I'm not saying that, but other people are saying he's disappointed. I don't know, about something that was trending over the weekend. But who's to say? Okay, this was the point of the press conference. He's announcing that the Space Force Command Center is moving from Colorado to Alabama. And I guess he's punishing Colorado for their voting system by moving the Space Force HQ.
Going to be, I will say, I want to thank Colorado. The problem I have with Colorado, one of the big problems, they do mail-in voting. They went to all mail-in voting. So they have automatically crooked elections, and we can't have that. When a state is for mail-in voting, that means they want dishonest elections, because that's what that means. So that played a big factor also.
Wait, I think I'm confused. Why did he thank Colorado for that? Wait, maybe they changed something? Okay, maybe he's not punishing them for that. Maybe this is a different thing. Maybe I misunderstood that clip. I want to thank Colorado, so dishonest. Wow. So yeah, Trump announced September 2nd that U.S. Space Command will move its headquarters from Colorado to Alabama, the latest shift in a years-long back and forth on the permanent home for the Pentagon's orbital thing. Whatever. So now listen. Listen. Guys, it is a miracle that I'm sitting up straight in this chair. I think I broke a record for the lack of sleep in the last week. Because how can you sleep? Whatever. You hear that constantly. Anyways, I'm back. And there are going to be jobs. This is a meaningful thing. And when you have a command center, you're going to have a lot of jobs produced in an industry that's fueled in that state. So I'm sure Colorado's not happy with it. But by the way, Alabama allows mail-in voting too. So I don't know exactly what the argument is there. And I don't even know if those are connected. I might have misunderstood that. Then Tommy Tuberville, who's the senator from Alabama, is very gleeful about this.
For that. But the best place for Space Command is Huntsville, Alabama, because what we have and what it means to this country is going to be so important. So thank you, Mr. President, for this, and we look forward to building a huge Space Command and having the Donald J. Trump Space Command Center in Huntsville, Alabama.
The Donald J. Trump Space Command Center. Let's see if I can turn this into a... Tommy Tuberville's integrity is as real as this guy's hair. Look at this guy back. Not the one without the hair. I'm saying this guy. I forget his name. It was Marshall, something Marshall maybe. And every time you see, it's like, why even do it if it's going to be so fake looking? It's like an animation of hair, which is fine. We love it. It looks good, but it's very distinct with like a straight line of his real hair. And then you have Trump being asked about mass shootings and him offering up this solution.
Parents love the children. Teachers love the children, too. And if you took a small percentage of those teachers that were in the military, that were distinguished in the military, that were in the National Guard, et cetera, and you let them carry, that's something that a lot of people like. I sort of liked it. It'd have to be studied, but they're trained. They know about weapons. You can't do it with every teacher because most teachers don't know, and but I always thought that would be an alternative.
So this is something they say a lot. The solution to mass shootings at schools is just giving a bunch of guns to staff members. He says not every teacher. A lot of people in his cohort think every single teacher. And it always sounds nice, like the solution to general gun violence is just the good guys having more guns. But the statistical truth that they always ignore is while you can have individual instances of heroes being heroic who use a gun to put down a perpetrator, the mathematical phenomenon that we deal with over and over is you pump more guns into a zone and that zone has more gun violence, even if it's the good guys. Similar to people will get all these different guns and they have the right to, and I understand it, in their own home. And all of a sudden it's way more likely that that gun's going to hurt them or one of their loved ones in that home than it's going to be used to defend the home from somebody coming into it. And it's the same thing if you started flooding schools with guns purportedly to protect the students, it would just be way more likely it's used in some altercation, in some accidental incident, in some suicide than in defense of the school students. So that's why that's a bad idea. Then he gets asked if he's spoken to Putin, and he's a little bit vague.
Have you spoken with President Putin in the past week? Have you spoken with President Putin in the past
I don't want to. I have learned things that will be very interesting. I think in the next few days you'll find out.
Will there be any consequences if there were?
What even was that answer? Have you spoken to Putin in the last few days? Yeah, I don't want to. I've learned things that will be very interesting. And it'll come out in how long? When will we find out about that?
2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So Trump's alive. He did a press conference. He looks terrible as ever. He's good to go.